Wake up in the morning and I kiss my wife. I tell her I love her and say goodbye. Make a cup of coffee and kiss her again. She's my one and only and my very best friend. I put a runny egg on my wife's head. I said I put a runny egg on my wife's head. Do it, Brad.
It's me, Satan, speaking to you again. Do it now.
Don't forget one for the baby.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Friday, November 4th, 2022, and this is The Drop. I'm J.E. Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
This is going to be a weird show, and that cold open. Pretty fitting. That was weird.
What a waste of eggs. Next to Tass, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Heyo!
Heyo! And over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer, JD.
Hello.
There he is, and here we are. Shout out to the stream team joining us live right now on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share the show. Get your No Dunks merch over at nodunks.com. And send in your questions and comments to nodunks@theathletic.com. Best way to email them in. Or you can tweet them in at nodunks_inc. That's INC on the end. 2 new podcasts yesterday, in addition to, obviously, No Dunks in the Morning. And I am talking about No Buffs, our Survivor Recap podcast, which has its own YouTube feed, its own podcast feed. We had a blast breaking this one down, talking about getting stuck in a mud net. Did you see that, Tass?
Scary.
Oh,
It's,
very scary.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Don't like that feeling. There's a little claustrophobia
I
happening
agree.
there.
Yeah.
It took people a really long time to get out of
They're
that.
still in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this was fun. A new Is This Good episode with special guest Renee Paquette from the AEW. This was Trey, JD, Matteo, of course, and Renee. And that Is This Good has its own YouTube feed and its own podcast feed. So go subscribe to that. I haven't listened to this one yet, so I'm very excited for later today or the weekend. Was it a banger?
It's a good one,
Yeah?
I do believe. Just like these new Is This Good graphics. It's good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yes, love the
I
yellow.
don't want to spoil things, but I would say my favorite moment was when I mentioned that we still have yams, who Renee knows from back in Toronto, and she's like, "You still have yams?"
Wow, shocked her.
Yeah, 14 years old, sweet yammer girls.
But you're not going to tell us here whether or not you kiss her on the lips.
I can't give it away.
Okay.
Can't give it away on this feed.
Okay.
It was so disappointing. I went for a jog this morning. I thought I had programmed that episode of Is This Good in my headphones, but I got Amir Blumenfeld instead.
Oh, jeez. Well, that was a great episode. I mean, I was on that one. It was fantastic.
Good. It was good, but I wanted Renee.
You wanted
Paquette.
Renee. I understand. Well, maybe have you subscribed to the new feed?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay. So go check those out if you haven't already. On today's Drop podcast, we are going to have some NBA fun where we're going to rank all the NBA title contenders and pretenders in tiers. Okay, we'll do that later in the show. We got Tweet of the Night. We got Rapid Fire Fun. But first, let's start with all the bullshit. What an absolute garbage week for the NBA off the floor. Let's get into it, guys. Net star Kyrie Irving, he apologized late last night for promoting a link to a documentary pushing anti-Semitic tropes, saying he takes full responsibility for his decision to share the content with his nearly 5 million followers. He posted the apology on his verified Instagram account hours after the Nets announced a 5-game suspension for Kyrie. Here's a part of the post that he put up on Instagram. To all Jewish families and communities that are hurt and affected from my post, I am deeply sorry to have caused you pain, and I apologize. I initially reacted out of emotion to being unjustly labeled anti-Semitic instead of focusing on the healing process of my Jewish brothers and sisters that were hurt from the hateful remarks made in the documentary. He had a lot more to say. I'm sure a lot of you have already read it by now. But again, this was on the heels tasks of the Nets, not the NBA, handing him a 5-game suspension on the heels of him talking to the media once again yesterday for 5 or 6 minutes where he said a whole bunch of nothing and didn't apologize in that. And he apologized in the post later at night. What do you think?
This is exciting. I'm so excited to talk about this. This is just so much fun. Can't we talk about this on our CRT podcast? Oh, actually, that's on a different feed. You got to subscribe to that in a different podcast. This is unfortunate. Obviously, he only came out with this written apology because he was suspended, which only happened because he had a 6-minute the little press conference where he basically stood his ground yet again and couldn't say the words, "I'm sorry." It just came off as not understanding what a movie like this can do. That's essentially what it is. He still didn't understand it. He called it research that he was doing into his black ancestry. And look, obviously he's totally allowed to do that. But while doing this research into his black ancestry, it's sort of under this guise of that he's embracing anti-Jewish tropes, which can literally get people killed. He's literally turning this feeling of, hey, I'm trying to figure out where I'm going in my life, where I've been in my life, where my people are from, into a channeling of blame and anger towards an entire race of people. And I don't want to even amplify the things that were said in this film and in this book, and people saying, well, why is it even on Amazon? That's totally true. That's a different conversation about content moderation. Musk doesn't know what he's getting into on Twitter. It's a whole deep bag. But really, the question, forget about the whataboutism. The question is about Kyrie. And Kyrie promoted something which literally gets people hurt and can, like we've seen so many times, the number of incidents of anti-Semitism in 2021 was the most that's ever happened in the U.S. It's we saw a shooting a few years ago in Pittsburgh. It's just something that he didn't understand. So in that 6-minute press conference, which was very, 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 very difficult to listen to, I mean, he just simply just didn't understand. He simply just didn't understand what he is doing, and it was difficult to listen to. He should be putting his energies, which he is. He seemingly has good intentions. He should be putting them into other areas, other things to help the black people right now. I mean, but into criminal justice reform, into something else other than promoting something which he just simply didn't understand. He should have understood it 5 days ago. He was given absolutely every opportunity to do that, and it only resulted in this. Again, another post. We talked about a freaking apology yesterday, right? Was it yesterday? They're all blending
Yes.
together. We talked about an apology yesterday that was written that wasn't enough, so he had to go to talk to the public. No, that's not enough. We got to suspend you. Okay, fine. I'll say I apologize in a post. Mm-hmm. And again, it doesn't feel like much. I bring that up because I'd rather hear it. And I'm sure every Jewish person around the globe would rather hear it as well.
Trey, thoughts on this, or where the Nets go with Kyrie, what the future holds for these two?
Yeah, I guess who knows? I mean, it's a 5-game minimum suspension, right? And there are remedial things that Kyrie needs to check off, which we'll see if he does. I'm kind of with Taz. It's hard to continue having takes on Kyrie Irving because it took a suspension and 4 times of asking for him to come through with an apology that ends up saying, sorry to have caused you pain. Sorry I hurt your feelings, which is different than a real apology in my books. But I don't think we're going to get that from Kyrie Irving no matter how many times he's asked. So where do the Nets go from here? I don't know. I'm assuming that Kyrie will be back on the court at some point because that's just what happens.
Yeah, so. It feels like this is one of the remedial steps, right? The apology.
Yeah, sure. So that was one of them.
That's check. And there has to be some greater understanding of the Jewish faith and the Jewish people, like Myers Leonard went through. So there's that. I guess he started. It took a suspension for the Nets and for Kyrie to see somewhat eye to eye. But you're right. I mean, I wonder if Kyrie's fine with this in a way. Like it feels like it to him like he's standing his ground. But really, it's ignorance. That's what it comes down to, unfortunately.
What's your opinions on the way Commissioner Silver and the NBA have dealt with this, or not dealt with this, I guess, maybe is a better way to put it, all week long here?
I think everybody involved except for Kyrie is trying to give Kyrie the chance to get himself out of this, rather than actually punish him, and it finally came to Adam Silver and the Nets realizing he's not going to apologize unless he's punished, so public pressure is kind of the only thing I think that's actually going to work here. To me, the NBA is not a proactive league, just in general. They're a very much reactive league. If people are talking about something and it seems like a problem, we will address it. this has been a story now for a week, and like, if Kyrie is debating what the definition of promotion is still at this point, it's ridiculous, because this thing went to the top of the charts at Amazon because it shows up in every single story about this.
Yeah.
And there have been stories about this now for a week, and that's exactly what he's doing, is amplifying that message. So I don't know. It doesn't seem to me like that people are going to get the apology they want from Kyrie Irving, and maybe he doesn't have it in him, which is pretty disappointing.
I'm with you. Yeah, reactive is a good word for the league, and yeah, we're talking about it now. It only has been amplified a ton. I've had to go to Kyrie's Instagram page. You put the 5 letters of Kyrie in there. The Kyrie Jewish movie comes up. I mean, that's strictly what's happening. So it's all unfortunate. But as far as the NBA goes, they have given him the ability to try and understand what's going on and given him the out.
Oh my God!
Many
yeah,
times,
all week long
Yeah.
they did. And again, it wasn't the NBA that suspended him; it was the Nets. Who knows how involved Silver was with Joe Tsai there and the Nets organization for the 5-game suspension after, again, that crazy little media scrum that accomplished nothing. He just said a bunch of fucking words, is what he's really good at times, where you're like, huh, what? Hold on, what? What are you? Where are you going with this? What? And it's like, okay. But then, yeah, after the 5-game suspension, then we get the post.
Yeah, even before the post, reading the suspension release from the Nets, it felt like, okay, reading the first 3 paragraphs, he's never playing for the Nets again. But then you get to the bottom and it's, okay, 5 games at minimum if he, checks off these remedial procedures. So I think that's where we're at. Mm-hmm. I think they're still comfortable with him coming back. And yeah, he's gone through step 1, it seems like, with the text that he sent out.
Okay, well, we'll see what comes next. By the time we're done talking about Kyrie, give it an hour and there'll be something brand new to this story, I'm sure. In other shitty news, former San Antonio Spurs psychologist Hillary Cawthon is suing the Spurs and the team's 2021 draft pick Josh Primo over alleged incidents involving indecent exposure by Primo. According to the lawsuit, which was filed yesterday on Thursday, Primo exposed himself 9 times in front of Cawthon, beginning in December 2021. Cawthon apparently then raised her concerns over Primo's conduct with Spurs GM Brian Wright in January 2022. These dates are sort of important here, but her repeated reports went ignored. On Thursday, Spurs CEO R.C. Buford, he released a statement that read in part, "We disagree with the accuracy of facts, details, and timeline presented today. While we would like to share more information, we will allow the legal process to play out." Most of you know this by now, but the Spurs waived Primo last week after he had played just 4 games this season. Primo's attorney, to give his side of the story here, his attorney, Primo, says this is a complete fabrication, a gross embellishment, or utter fantasy. This indecent exposure 9 times with this former Spurs psychologist. Another great topic for you guys to weigh in on here, and maybe there's not a lot to say on this one. I know I was quick, or maybe we were quick, or some of us were quick to, when Primo was waived, we applauded the Spurs a little bit, like, oh, okay, way to move quickly on that. But maybe that's not the case at all, if this is true with what she's saying here in her lawsuit.
Yeah.
That they knew for months and didn't do anything, and just work from home and we'll make it work. We'll go from there.
In the words of Cawthon, it took them 10 to 11 months here to do something correct. And as you just slipped in there, she was told to work from home and she lost her job essentially. Essentially during the summer, they said, "Oh, we're not renewing your contract," and seemingly that stemmed from Josh Primo, and there are apparently other incidents of Primo exposing himself in a couple other states as well, beyond what happened with Hillary Cawthon. So, putting a face to the name, seeing her in a press conference, as well as her lawyer, makes it a far more real. And yeah, there's not a ton to say now because you got to kind of wait and see. Putting a face also to the name of Brian Wright. Oh, the Spurs have a GM named Brian Wright. Didn't realize that. But here we are, and it's extremely, extremely unfortunate. Obviously, you got to give Primo his time to say what he wants, but this is another one. Yeah,
pretty brave from Dr. Cawthon to actually willingly have her name dragged through the mud and her picture out there and people talking about her and going forward with this lawsuit because, like you're saying, Tass, Primo wasn't released until there were additional alleged incidents. So I'm tending to believe Dr. Coffin on this one. We're just going to need a lot of transparency from the Spurs. I think going forward here, they are an organization that's usually pretty tight-lipped with everything. Nothing leaks from the Spurs for the most part. And they're going to have a lot of questions to answer because people are going to want to know who knew what, when they knew it, and what they did about it. Because it feels like some people knew and there wasn't much done until it finally reached whoever made the call to let go of Primo. Yeah. So that will be the question going forward for sure.
And also yesterday, ESPN's Baxter Holmes reported that Miles Bridges, who is a restricted free agent for the Hornets, he pleaded no contest to felony domestic violence charges in L.A. on Thursday. Bridges was charged in July after his girlfriend alleged he attacked her in front of their 2 children. If you remember, she posted very disturbing photos of the aftermath of the alleged incident. She said that he choked her, broke her nose, gave her a concussion. In the plea agreement with the L.A. District Attorney's Office, 2 of the 3 counts against Bridges were dropped. He was sentenced to 3 years probation, no jail time, as part of this deal with the prosecutors here. His NBA future, at least in the short term, it remains unclear. It's possible he could still face disciplinary action from the league if he is signed with a team, because under the CBA, they would have the right to suspend him, fine him, dismiss him, disqualify him from the league because he pleaded no contest here. But he will not be doing jail time, 3 years probation. There's a bunch of courses he has to take, and we'll see. I mean, you can't imagine a team signing him here, and I don't think.
I would hope not.
I don't know.
I would hope not. I've honestly just got a lot of sympathy for all the women involved in all of these stories. Dr. Coffin, Bridges' partner, the victims of the Ime Udoka stuff that was happening, which is going to surface once again once he is officially announced as the Nets head coach. And a lot of sympathy, honestly, for women who are NBA fans right now. It's got to be impossible to feel like the league cares at all. So hopefully nobody takes the risk and signs Miles Bridges. He is still a young player who had a good
24.
season last year, but that would be terrible. So, I mean, at least we got a little bit of an update on what's going on here, but the fact he could come back in the league, let's hope that is not the case.
Yeah, I just not even thinking about the basketball part of things. I mean, he's got kids that now he still has custody over with, along with the mother of the kids. There's a restraining order from the mother of the kids. And the kids have to be transferred through a third party when Miles Bridges does get custody. Yeah, he does have to go through a year's long worth of domestic violence counseling and parenting classes and community service and weekly narcotics testing. So there's that. I mean, I'm just thinking of the children and basketball. Who cares? He's obviously he's set for life if he has taken care of his money. So if he's not on a basketball floor anytime soon, I'm just thinking of the kids and what happens with his mother.
And the final piece of news here, definitely not as extreme as those other 3 pieces, but it's an injury-related piece of news, and it involves a star, James Harden.
Oh, basketball.
Yeah, he's expected to miss a month due to a right foot tendon strain that he suffered in the game against the Wizards on Wednesday, I believe it was. So no James Harden here for what's that going to be, 14, 15 games? Let's call it that. For the Sixers, who are off to a slow start here, and Bede's sort of out of the lineup at times. How the Sixers go about replacing Harden's 35-plus minutes a game? I mean, obviously plays a ton.
Yeah, a couple things. My first thought is maxi time. I'm excited to just see more maxi opportunities, just having the ball more in his hands. A few ways. Embiid was a monster last year when everything was going through him. Ben Simmons wasn't around. James Harden wasn't around. The second option was essentially Tobias Harris. He was so good. And he's gotten better the last 4 games. He's been hot, 30 points per game, 61% shooting. And they haven't been going to him as much. They're first or second the last 3 seasons in post touches. Now they're 6th, so they could do a lot more of that. And I guess Tobias Harris as well. I mentioned him. He's shooting so many threes this year. Half of his shots are threes, which is like double the amount that his career high average is like 24% or something like that. So we haven't seen the mid-range Tobias Harris, and I guess that's going to happen as well. Which is they got some pretty good alternatives here, and if it just goes to Maxey and Embiid, this team should be all right.
So you think they could?
Yeah.
They can survive
Rich
here?
Hoffman broke it down. I think they could be totally fine, especially if Embiid says, "All right, that's my team again."
Yeah, well, he's like in and out of the lineup. He's got a flu, I think, right now, and they're trying to keep him away from the team. I know that's going around. Yeah, I mean, this team came into this season with like all of this depth. That's all we kept talking about. Wow, look at these moves they made, and so we're going to see it put to the test here early. I would think DeAnthony Melton would start because that's what he was doing when Embiid was out. He was in there. But Shake Milton, Trey, Thibault might get more of a chance here, more minutes at least.
Yeah, sure. The Philadelphia, this is exactly why they have depth in Melton, House, and Thibault. Those guys are going to play a little bit more. I'm with Tass. I really think they'll be able to hold the fort quite fine. They played the whole first 2/3 of the season last year with basically Embiid and Maxey as the main guys. Yeah. Tobias Harris was there. They just added depth around him. James Harden is now Ben Simmons, just not playing for a month. The problem is the schedule's kind of tough. They've got Phoenix, Atlanta twice, Milwaukee. Utah's good right now. Minnesota, Brooklyn, Cleveland, and Memphis. They're playing a bunch of good teams, but as long as Embiid is able to recover from illness, get back on the court, and get back to playing like he was before he had his illness, I think that's going to be fine. I will say the questions I would have is, like, will this foot tendon strain linger for Harden? Because he wasn't the same player after the hamstring strain. Definitely more of a point guard. And coming into this season, like, he's kind of a little bit closer to his Houston self, right? Using a lot more possessions. So that definitely, I thought there was some clunkiness there with the way they were using Embiid, the way they were using Maxey, and the way Harden was dominating the ball. They don't really have the chance to build that chemistry right now. Also unsure of just how Harden will come back. Is he going to play like I'm using 30% of possessions or I'm using 20% of possessions? They don't have a chance to build that chemistry right now, which could be a problem come playoff time. But in the meantime, they should survive. Fine.
Yeah. And like how in shape can he stay over this month of having a foot injury? This guy seems to be able to add or subtract 20 pounds in like 3 days' time, if you believe photos you see half the time. So like, just can he stay in shape because of the injury, and how will he have to come back in slowly when he hopefully does return from them? Okay.
Yeah, no, that is definitely a great point, because he always plays. He always plays until last season, where he missed a chunk of time. He plays every single night. And there was the 21 hamstring injury when he was with the Nets, and it was just, he didn't look great when he came back. And I think it's interesting what they've done here. They've said they're going to reevaluate him in 2 weeks, but they're putting the timeline, to that month. They've sort of extended it because I think they want to take their time. But yeah, there is the detriment of him coming back and not running for a month. So that's big. It is big.
All right, let's take our first break. But when we come back, I think you're going to enjoy this. We are going to rank the contenders/pretenders when we get into championship teams. We got a bunch of tiers for you guys, so don't go anywhere.
So it was HOCO this past weekend at Lincoln School. That's what the kids are calling homecoming these days.
Oh my God,
HOCO. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
HOCO. I don't know.
It's
HOCO.
okay. It's fine.
It's fine. That's how Lincoln posted pictures from it, and he used the tag HOCO. It's like, all right, HOCO. Anyways, it was time for me to step up and be a dad for once and buy my son a suit.
Woo!
So yeah, normally I don't mind performing my fatherly duties, but suits, definitely not my thing. Way out of my comfort zone. I have to Google how to tie a tie every time I tie a tie. Anyways, I was immediately overwhelmed, kind of freaking out, so I started Googling best places to buy a suit in Atlanta, and then I realized in my panic, we're probably going to have to leave the house. But then it hit me. Indochino.com, baby.
Yeah.
That's how stressed I was about this. I forgot about one of the OGs of ad partners for us. So I just tossed link in my iPad and said, go to Indochino.com and buy yourself a suit. Boom. My work is done here. Dad achievement unlocked. All I really had to do was break out the measuring tape and jot down his stats. The rest was up to Lincoln. And he had some decisions to make. Color, favorite fabric, favorite style. How do you want those lapels? Vest or no vest? Make it a tux? Oh, you know he clicked that box. And luckily, he knew what he wanted going in. A black suit, burgundy shirt, and no tie. Yes. He could have got it monogrammed, but decided against it because, frankly, that suit's going to be Jackson in about 6 months. Let's be honest.
Oh, right. Pass me down.
Yeah, exactly. The kid's 6'2", he's still growing, and it does not care about basketball. It's very, very sad. But for now, the suit looks fantastic on Lincoln. There's really nothing like having a tailored suit. So design your perfect suit with Indochino and get $50 off any purchase of $3.99 or more. You bet your ass we use that promo code NODUNKS. That's promo code NODUNKS at Indochino.com. INDOCHINO.com. Promo code NODUNKS.
All right, here in the Classic Factory, some Friday drop fun. Big picture topic here for you guys. We're 2.5 weeks into the season. That's it. Feels like months. I know. But
that is breaking news. Doesn't feel like that.
we've seen most teams play, 7 to 9 games or so. So we've got an idea of some of these teams. Some of them off to slow starts, some of them off to hot starts. I thought we could sort of rank which teams are the real title contenders, maybe which ones are the pretenders. And instead of just doing it all 30 teams at once, which could be a lot, I've put them into tiers. And I used BetMGM and their odds to win the title to help me make the tiers. Okay, so you can take offense to the tiers, but you're not coming at me. You're coming at the odds makers, okay? So tier 1, and this is obviously a tier that's going to have your real championship contenders here. What a graphic. For
Talk about
change.
top tier. It's this graphic.
Yeah, that's right. Tier 1 graphic. Okay.
Going crazy.
5 teams in tier 1. We got the Celtics, plus 500 to win the chip. Bucks right there with them, tied, plus 500. The Warriors at plus 650. The Clippers at plus 700. And the Suns at plus 800. So I guess my first cue, Tass, is
What do you got?
from those 5.
Yep.
How would you be ranking them? And or even who in that tier 1 are you saying, get the hell out of here? You're a pretender.
Yeah, there's got to be a couple that you remove from there. There has to be.
eh?
Couple.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
no.
well,
Okay.
have at it.
Okay. I mean, one is certain for me, and the second, it could be debated.
Okay.
The Los Angeles Clippers, I think they have to be taken out of there.
Yeah, they should have never been there to begin with. 100% agree.
Yeah. If Kawhi is healthy, then he should be in there. Well, I know not, but he's
He's never healthy.
No, I know, but these were made before the season essentially, and that's why they're in there. But
Yeah.
but now he's not. He's played 2 games.
Yeah.
He's played 2 games. So yeah, he's supposed to be back, but you can't depend on it anymore. You just can't. Not right now anyway. So let's get him out of there.
Okay, so you would bump them down. Okay, that makes sense.
And we all agree on that.
Yep.
These were definitely compiled before the Warriors lost to the Magic last night.
I checked this morning to see if it updated at all,
Yeah.
and it hadn't moved.
Okay, so they've lost 4 in a row.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't take them out, but I wouldn't object to someone taking them out.
Wow.
Because there's a clear tier 1 here with the Bucks, and then everybody else. Really, it's the Bucks. It should be the tier 1
You don't think
to
that-
themselves.
okay, you don't
But
think-
the Celtics and Suns should join the party. That's cool. Those are the 2 other teams that are allowed to be there. But the Warriors.
Come
the
on,
defense,
buddy. The
keep 'em,
Warriors are
man.
good. The Warriors are still good.
They're trying to figure it out, obviously, these lineups here with the
Yeah,
oldies and the youngies.
Don't play
but-
the bad guys.
Yeah.
No problem. Golden State starters plus 24.1 net rating, the best in the league of any lineup that's played at least 75 minutes. Their starting lineup is still the best in the league. Just don't play Wiseman, and you'll be fine.
Okay, so you're not taking them anywhere.
No way.
Off of the tier
No way.
1.
They had a 5-game losing streak last season and a 4-game losing streak last season.
Yeah, there was injuries with those though. Everybody's healthy now.
Good point.
Yes. When Draymond went out, it was a problem for the Warriors last year. But honestly, Steve Kerr's just going to stop playing Wiseman, and they're going to be fine. I think that's the huge thing. 125 points per possession with James Wiseman on the court. You cannot play defense with Jordan Poole as your point guard and James Wiseman as your center. Wiseman is basically a rookie center at this point with how little he's played during his college career, during his first couple of years in the NBA. And he does not play Warriors basketball at all. He wants the ball in the post to catch it and post up. And that ain't going to happen on this team. So Sooner or later, they're just going to play JaMychal Green and Kuminga off the bench. Kuminga hasn't been very good either. But the Warriors will mothball the development plan to try and win another title, and it'll be all good.
Will they trade any of those guys
Who wants Wiseman?
to really lean into it? No, I mean package them together and try and get like more of a guy that could contribute to the trying to repeat. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. The problem to me is that when you see Wiseman on the court, he's got no feel. And every time he plays, he's probably lowering his trade value.
I mean, that's probably true, at least what we've seen the last couple of games, no doubt. What'd you think of that Magic win over the Warriors last night? Entertaining finish.
Absolutely.
My God, the shot making in that one was great.
It was, yeah. And even Wiseman's minutes have been dropping recently, and they only played 9 minutes in that one, but the fourth quarter was a blast. Yeah, the Jalen Suggs game.
Yeah.
I mean, really getting up into Steph, the turnovers, and then hitting shots where, this is going to be an ugly possession, and just bombs away after 20 seconds of nothing. So, yeah, the Magic are fun for a couple of those. Unfortunately, that it doesn't last all that long with the Magic. It happens every year, but it's fun. They're a darling for a little while, and yeah, they have so many guys that you can get excited about, and Suggs and Franz and Cole sitting on the bench there, and others. Yeah, for sure.
People said the Magic were making a run at the playoffs this year, and the Pistons.
Oh, people were trying to debate which one, for sure.
Neither. Check the tiers. Check the tiers.
Well, they ain't winning a title, I know that. I think we're all agreeing that the Bucks are number one with a bang. They don't even have Middleton, and they're kicking ass here. I would have Suns number 2 right now in terms of ranking. I think they're being overlooked because it's a classic, this team's been so good in the regular season for a while now, and then, they made it to the finals, but then, of course, last year they get embarrassed by the Mavericks, so people are like, all right, just do it. Once again, come playoff time, that sucks to say, but man, they're first offensively and 5th defense. Playing their own game. They play at their own pace, that team led by Chris Paul, in terms of being traffic control cops. So they're damn good. They really, really are here. It's almost going to be weird to see what they do with Ayton when they could, in theory, trade him. If that is even still a thing with this team. If they're like at the top of the West come that time, in January.
It's a great question. To me, they are probably the most surprising team in Tier 1, considering how we thought going into the season. But you hear all the time, you just start winning some games, and that cures all the problems in the locker room. That's actually true with the Suns.
Yeah.
Nobody cares that Jay Crowder's gone right now. Nobody cares that they had problems with DeAndre Ayton over the summer. Yeah. It's been a vibe shift, no doubt, for the Suns. So, yeah, I think they belong here, but I still don't think they'll win the title. But
yeah.
I mean,
they're in that tier.
They're in the tier.
Okay. Let's go to Tier 2. This is a big one. One of the bigger tiers. It's got 7 teams, okay? We've got the Nets there at plus 1,400. The Nuggets and Grizzlies are both plus 1,800. This is to win the championship, remember. Mavericks plus 2,000. 76ers plus 2,000. The Cavaliers, that looks like a tasty bet, doesn't it? Plus 2,200. And the Heat right there with them at plus 2,200. Tass, this big Tier 2. Is there anyone you want to get the hell out of it? And really then maybe give me 1 or 2 teams that you sort of have at the top that could be knocking on the door for that Tier 1.
Well, yes. So we removed one team from Tier 1. Mm-hmm. Do we have to put one in? Because if there's one to put in, it's got to be the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's got to be. Just throw them up there. I know this tier is full of very good teams. Mm-hmm. Other than the Brooklyn Nets, what the heck are they doing in this tier? Yeah. I have no idea why they're here. But the Cleveland Cavaliers are damn impressive. Their point differential is plus 10 points. They are beating teams by plus 10 points, including that one loss that they had where Darius Garland was out against the Toronto Raptors,
right.
A great team. So they are absolutely rolling. I think they have all the attributes of a championship team. I think they've answered all the questions. They're not too small in the backcourt to play defense. I think Donovan Mitchell is back, baby. I think they are deep enough, and I think, the locker room is good enough to envelop Donovan Mitchell, put him on a pedestal. Darius Garland is fine being sort of the guy who plays alongside Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell getting most of the crunch time shots. Evan Mobley is also okay with being far more of a secondary or even a tertiary guy on this team. I know there's really good teams in this tier 2, mm-hmm. but the Cavs, as much as, we don't really anoint teams until they do it. We're reactive, just like the NBA. But I think the Cleveland Cavaliers they've done everything without Darius Garland for most of this. So I think yeah, maybe I'm a value man at plus 2,200 as we have them here, but they've impressed more than the Nuggets, Grizzlies, Mavericks, Sixers, or Heat. And I'm not even going to say the Nets' name again because they do not belong here.
Okay. Trey, what are your thoughts on this tier?
Yeah, I'm with Tass that the Cavs are certainly the most interesting, but if I were a betting man, I would say conference finals more likely than actual NBA finals.
Yep.
They've got 5 guys shooting 40% from 3 or better right now. That is not going to be the case for the entirety of the season unless Dean Wade is a 60% three-point shooter. If he is, then I would maybe consider the Cavs a favorite here, but they've been great to start the season. The other team that I think could, by the end of the season, be knocking on the doors of Tier 1 is the Dallas Mavericks. They are being slept on big time right now. They've got the second best offense in the league because they got Luka Doncic, who's on absolute fire right now. They're 4-3, so the record doesn't look great, but they lost opening night by 2 points. They lost to the Pelicans by 2 points, and they lost to the Thunder in overtime. They could be 7-0 pretty easily right now if Luka hits 3 game winners.
Yeah. I mean, they just got to pray that guy can hold up for 82 games and then a couple months in the postseason because it's live or die by Luka. That's how they run their offense, and he's that damn good. But, man, that guy picks up an injury, that team is going to tank real quick, I think, in my opinion. But, yeah, making a case for them. You've been high on the Mavericks. I haven't been as high, but they have looked decent. All those teams, I mean, you can make a case. You really can. Obviously, like your 76ers and your Nuggets, let's say, with having MVP-like centers, where you're like, okay, in a series, we could have the best guy on the floor, if he's healthy and operating. I'm talking about Jokic and Embiid. Sure, you like our chances there. The Nets, yeah, get rid of them. I mean, it's amazing they're plus 1,400 still. Like, who would be betting on that? I mean, that's a lot of love for Kevin Durant. And
they gotta have an LA team and a New York team.
Yeah.
High on the odds list. And it ain't going to be the Lakers and the Knicks.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
Yeah, the Mavs can get better, too. They can make a starting lineup change. JaVale McGee has not been all that juicy. Dwight Powell is alive. Christian Wood can come in there. Because I do think Luka could use a little bit more help. It's just a struggle every single game.
They're second in offense.
I know, but they can get better. I think they can get better.
They were first earlier this week.
They dropped out.
I just mean
Suns clips them.
We know Luka is incredible in April and May and June. It's just he could use some help here in these months.
I don't think so. I mean, like, they're not missing Brunson at all.
No, not really.
Not one bit. I mean, it'd be nice to have one more ball handler at them, but they got Wood can handle the ball. Spencer Dinwiddie can handle the ball.
Yeah.
It just comes down to missed shots. Like, you're right. If they pick up an injury, it could go badly, but that's true for the Bucks. That's true for the Warriors. If you miss your best player, you're not in the championship tier. That's why we're saying the Clippers shouldn't be there.
Yeah, they miss Brunson in the sense when Luka goes to the bench to have someone operate the unit when he's on.
Christian Wood's averaging 20 a game.
Yeah, but the drop off is I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm going to guess it's pretty damn drastic when Luka is not out there with anybody.
Yeah.
Christian Wood or not. I mean, Brunson, that was what he was good at last year, especially when Luka went down with injury.
That's a good MVP case. It's like the Steph Curry effect of a couple of years ago when they didn't have anyone really. Their bench struggled. It's good for the MVP case.
Oh, sure.
For the plus minus. But I think internally they could get better. Christian Wood obviously has been better than they expected.
Absolutely. He's balling out.
Yeah.
All right. Tier 3 then is 5 teams. Some fun teams in the mix here. Pelicans plus 3,000, Wolves plus 3,500, the Raps plus 4,000, the Hawks plus 5,000, and there's the Lakers at plus 5,000 as well. You got LeBron and AD. Mm-hmm. You're gonna win half your games. That's what it turns out. Yeah, thoughts on tier 3? You gotta start it, Trey.
Pels and the Lakers are the only team worth a bet here. None of the other 3 teams, Timberwolves, Raptors, Hawks, have a chance at winning the championship. Mm-hmm. I don't really think the Lakers do either, but like you're saying, they have LeBron and AD.
Yeah.
Perhaps they're able to pull some kind of a trade with Westbrook. At least they play defense. Like, they play defense, they have LeBron and AD. If they're healthy, you've got a puncher's chance. And I feel kind of the same about the Pelicans. They just have so many talented players that it could click and they could go to a conference finals, but I don't think the Timberwolves, Raptors, and Hawks are realistic championship contenders.
Of those 3, who do you have the most faith in?
Yeah, that's a leading question because you know the answer.
Well, Wolves, Raps, and Hawks. Okay,
of
so
course
you think
it's the Raptors.
Because why? Because they play defense, the way Siakam is playing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's an MVP level player at this point, Pascal Siakam. They're smacking teams. I know, forget about the Spurs plus 43 that they just put on the San Antonio Spurs, who didn't have their 2 best backcourt players. they're beating teams pretty badly. They're plus 8 points, which is one of the best point differentials in the league because they play D every single possession. And Scotty Barnes, it's all about Scotty. It's all about his growth. I think they need a secondary ball handler, guy that can make things happen. Scotty has shown he can do that. I mean, the defense is phenomenal. What are you laughing about over there?
The Raptors have won their last 2 games by 73 points. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's honestly crazy. Please don't tell me about point differential when they played 8 games and won their last 2 by 73.
Well, you gotta
That's 9 points a game right there.
You gotta play the games in front of you, Trey, and
You
they're doing it.
You do. They smack the Hawks. They're better than the Hawks, definitely.
Yeah, of this tier, the Pelicans obviously are. They've got the biggest range. They could be, one of the darlings of the NBA and get to a conference finals. It feels like. Obviously, the Lakers got a couple fantastic players, and they have moves to be made. But the Raps are a 50-win team.
Yeah. Look, you are good in this league, and it's only 2.5 weeks into the season, so take it with a grain of salt. But you are generally a damn good team in this league, and maybe have a chance to go far in the playoffs or a postseason run if you're top 5 or flirting with top 5 on both sides of the ball. That is nothing new. And the Raptors right now, they've had some easy wins. It's inflated the numbers, but they're third offensively, which is a bit of a surprise with the Toronto Raptors, and a lot of that is Siakam and him just balling out. And then defensive rating, which we thought would be 5th or 6th, and that's where they are. So that's great, and it's a great start for them. They're 5-3 right now.
And it's the transition game as well that they're juicing. They're getting into it.
Yeah, I've said their offense is their defense.
Yeah,
for sure.
Which goes away in the postseason.
Good point.
So that's the worry. We need somebody.
Well, that was like the Grizzlies last year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
away.
diminished in a postseason for sure, where a lot of your points are coming because of your defense. Teams take care of the ball a little bit more in a postseason.
So is Kevin Durant available or not? Buy low. They just need one juicy go-to guy who can. Kevin Durant would love playing with this team.
You're talking about the Raptors.
I'm talking about the Raptors. Yeah. That's all.
I told
need.
Trey the other day before you came into the office. I was just driving into work, zoning out a little bit after all of this Nets drama with what was going on. I was like, is Masai Ujiri just going to come in here, drop the low ball offer? That's still at least enticing enough to the Nets where they go, all right, KD, go, just go. He's trying. He's
now
calling.
or never. It's now or never for Kevin Durant. If you want to get the most value back.
Oh,
what are you going to wait? Are you going to wait even longer until next season? It'll be 35. It's when are they going to pull the plug on this thing? Because I feel I'm in the moment right now where things are dire. But I felt I felt they're not going to re-sign Kyrie. So what are they doing here?
But the last-ditch effort, I know it's not official yet, which is a little weird, is to bring in Udoka.
Yeah.
And to see what he can do with KD as your star and then all the other pieces. And can you turn it around here early and get it going?
Yeah. And
if they can, I'm with you. Then they would be wise to get whatever they could for Kevin Durant and sort of start over.
And this stubborn dedication to trying to be a really good team right now when you can try and trade these guys for draft picks. I know they've given up their draft picks and pick swaps to the Rockets in the James Harden deal, but you can get some back here and just be bad. And you also give up another one for Royce O'Neal. I understand it's kind of hard to go back in reverse but it's done. Cut the losses. The losses, I think. Anyway.
Tier 4, we're getting into teams that have very little chance, just like Tier 3, to win the title, but Tier 4 has the Bulls at plus 6,600, the Blazers plus 8,000, who are off to a hot start, the Knicks plus 12,000 plus, and the Hornets and Wizards plus 25,000. You can make a lot of money if the Hornets and Wizards go on to win the title if you put some coin on them. Look, I'm not asking you from this bunch who's going to win the title, but Trey, do you think the Bulls or the Blazers should be more up in a Tier 3 or... Hell, even sell me on a Tier 2 if you want for either of those.
I guess I would say big market bias also in effect here for the Bulls having better odds to win the championship than the Blazers. The Blazers are 5-2, and they will have Damian Lillard, a legitimate all-star, knocking on the edges of MVP candidate.
Sure.
And, DeRozan was that last year, but he hasn't always been that. It's been a solid start to the season for the Bulls, but unless they can figure out a way to play all their games Monday through Thursday, I don't think they're actually going to be making a run at the championship here.
Hold on, is Friday a weekend day?
Well, here's the thing. it's complicated.
Oh, is it?
Okay, break it down.
If they played a game before 5 p.m. on a Friday, I would consider it a weekday game. But they play all their games Friday night. That's
So
the
he
weekend,
considers
you know?
the weekend starts
Yeah.
after 5 o'clock.
I'm like
okay.
the Bulls play the Celtics tonight. They're gonna lose. It's Friday night.
Because it's Friday night,
Yeah.
and you're counting that as part of the weekend.
Yeah, it's the part of the weekend. Exactly.
Even though it's on a weekday. Okay, I'm fine with that.
You're
hey,
fine
by
with
the way,
calling Friday the weekend? I'm not.
hey, there was
Saturday
a lot
and
of
Sunday.
support for my idea about 28 days in every month. Add a 13th month. A lot of people, like 4 of you, are on board with that. Smarch, we're bringing in Smarch.
Smart.
Sorry. So
No, that's good.
I have a question for you from these 5 teams that we showed you in Tier
Yeah,
4.
the Bulls have lost on Friday twice. That's
Yes,
right.
they
Yeah, okay.
Which of these 5 teams here, Bulls, Blazers, Knicks, Hornets, or Wizards, which team has surprised you the most? Either positively or like, oh, I thought they were going to be better than this start here after 2.5 weeks. Where would you go?
I think it's the Blazers. I think.
Yeah, you were doubting them.
Yeah,
Like a lot of people were
Well,
doubting
you
them.
know, if 500 is a good season for them, but yeah, I think it's a tiny bit of things have gone their way at the end of games, and that's how they've gotten W's, some close games, the overtime games. But I have been very impressed by how they've been on a string, how they want to play D together. The locker room is great. I was very excited for Chauncey Billups at the beginning of next year, just as far as being an X's and O's motivator type guy, and it's working out pretty well. So I think I think the Wizards is. I know no one's like super excited about the Washington Wizards, but a plus $25,000 play. I think it's a good one. Maybe I'm in Kevin Durant mode, but that's where KD is from.
Oh God.
They have players. They have players to trade. It's not.
Oh, so
the
you're
best.
looking at these bottom tier teams going, who, could get like a Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
To jump them up a couple of tiers.
I'm quite gullible. I'm quite naive, but I'm not naive enough to think that these last, what are we talking about? We're talking about here like the 18th to 24th best teams in the NBA are going to win a championship.
Yeah, right.
This ain't at the NHL. I mean, it just doesn't happen in basketball. So they would have to get a superstar player. That's what you need in the NBA. And yeah, the Wizards have names to trade for Kevin Durant. You want a Denny Avdia? He's going to be a player in this league for a long time. I can fool you on a Rui Hachimura. I've been fooled many times on a Rui Hachimura. Porzingis looks better than ever,
Oh,
baby.
yeah, he does.
So yeah,
He's an all-star again.
none of these teams. Is there anyone that's surprising to you? Bulls, Blazers, Knicks, Hornets, Wizards. It goes up and down with these teams. Right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I was higher than most on the Blazers coming into the season. I was excited to see, like, could they put together a competent defense with some of the additions, Grant, and I know Gary Payton II's has he even played yet? No, he hasn't, right? And, like, Nurk holding it down. So that makes, like, that's crazy they're plus 8,000 still. Like, with Damian Lillard, it should be better than that. But the Knicks and the Hornets I thought would be garbage. They've actually been better than I thought they would be. And who was the last team there? The Wizards? Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, they've surprised me.
Yeah.
Oh, God, stop showing that, JD. We don't need to see these teams. All right, final tier. Final tier is 8 teams. They're all plus 50,000 to win. Tass, that means if I put $1 on either of these teams,
100.
I put 100. Thank you. $100 would win me 50,000.
Yeah.
That's it.
I guess $1 would win you $5K. I guess.
Yeah, that's right. If
there's
they'll take that bet.
I'm not sure they would. Minimum $5 bet, I think.
Okay. Anyway, you can win a lot of money if you believe in the Pistons, the Rockets, the Pacers, the Thunder, the Magic, the Kings, the Spurs, and the Jets. Look, some of these teams on this list,
The Utah Jazz.
last I checked,
Buy in.
were like some of the best teams in the Western Conference in terms of records, right? We got the Spurs, the Jazz. They're top 5 in the Western Conference right now. What gives with
The
that?
Jazz are 6-3.
Yeah, Spurs are 5-3. Any thoughts on this list here? Like, who's the best of this bunch? Go ahead, Tass.
I think it's the Jazz.
Really? End of the season? Like, not right now. Obviously,
They obviously have the best record.
Yeah.
Okay. The Jazz are likely going to sell a few of their players. It's possible.
Trader Danny?
Trader Danny. I think Danny Ainge will not trade Kelly Olynyk, but I think he may trade some others.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got 8 teams here. I would say if all these 8 teams held their rosters to the end of the season, the Utah Jazz would have the best
Wow.
record.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
But you
we
just
got
don't
to
think
check.
they will.
We got to Chet Holmgren out. That would help. But yeah, I'm going Jazz. That's the question, right? Is that the question?
Oh, sure. Let's put it
Who's
this
going to
way.
have the best record of those 8 teams?
Yeah. At the end of the year.
If the Kings can find a way to package Fox and Sabonis for Kevin Durant, I think they can make a run at getting into Tier 3. I'll just say it. Honestly, I would pick...
Wow.
It's still early enough, but I would pick the Kings. They have the best.
Yeah. Same here.
Why would I do that?
Why would we do that?
Why would I do that to myself? I don't know. This is just a belief for literally no reason. I don't think the Kings have done anything to start the season that's that encouraging.
No.
But still, they've got guys whose names I know, and I like that. But favorite team to watch of these bottom feeders here, I would say is the Magic. They've been a really fun watch early in the season. Banchero is already one of the most watchable players in the league to me, and Franz Wagner has translated from FIBA to the NBA, no doubt.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of love from those 8 bottom teams in Tier 5 for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They lost last night to the Nuggets, but that was a close game until the fourth quarter, really. And SGA, another insane game. His line was unreal. Like, his shooting percentage is through the roof. Takes no threes. It's a fun little wrinkle. So, the way they played, they're the best record of those teams, too, at 4-4, 500 team.
What do you mean the best record?
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. The Jazz and the
How
Spurs.
dare
were in there.
you disrespect the Jazz?
I forgot about them.
6-3.
My bad,
They're
my
forgettable. They're gonna trounce the Lakers tonight. Trounce them and
big
go up to
trouncey.
7-3. It's a solid team. They're gonna do you.
You were wrong about a Lakers pick last Friday.
Oh, the Wolves.
You said
well,
the Wolves.
I said the Lakers are gonna have their first win.
That's right.
Yeah, I could be wrong tonight. Listen, we're picking from the bottom teams. We're talking Franz, and listen, it's exciting to see some of those guys make plays. But you're talking about develop from the Magic. Yeah, it's fun to watch these young guys make plays. Then you look at the Utah Jazz. These are just developed Magic players. They're just older, developed players who are
Actually, right, man.
Yeah, they're like sort of a bunch of misfits,
Yeah.
but they're doing it, baby.
Yeah. All right. Okay. But you think they'll probably make a move or two to like actually hurt their chances of winning some of these games.
They got to trade Conley, I guess. I don't know. Danny's. You never know with Danny.
You never know. Let us know your thoughts on our 5 tiers there when it comes to NBA title contenders or pretenders. Let us know who you're moving around, who's got the craziest odds, who you're putting a buck on from those lower teams to go in and win it all. Shock the world. Let us know. We're going to take our final break here. When we come back, though, lots more still to get to. We got pick 'em results, we got tweet of the night, and rapid fire fun.
I can't deny it. I was legitimately thrilled when JD sent the ad rundown this week because Grammarly is back. Our old friend. The Classic Factory loves Grammarly because when our fall schedule fills up with activities and obligations and classics, even a small time saver can feel like a big help. Grammarly's all-in-one writing tool makes clear, concise communication easier than ever, so you can be confident and efficient writing emails, reports, presentations, and even YouTube shorts. Wasn't too long ago, Grammarly dropped me an email and said I hadn't been writing lately. Step your game up. Turns out I was inadvertently logged out. So I popped in my credentials and boom! Comprehensive spelling, grammar, and punctuation suggestions, plus instant proofreading. I love you, Grammarly. Get more time in your day with confidence in your work with Grammarly. Go to Grammarly.com/NoDunks to sign up for a free account. And when you're ready to upgrade to Grammarly Premium, you can get 20% off just for being our listeners. How easy is that? That's 20% off at GRAMMARLY.com/NoDunks.
Are you wasting money on subscriptions? 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about. I am 100% in that camp. I even set reminders on my to-do list to cancel my subscriptions, and I just ignore those reminders. It's more of a do-do list, really. It does nothing for me. If only there was a tool to cancel the subscriptions I didn't want. Well, there is. You may have heard of it. It's called Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. It tracks all of your expenses, and because of it, you will no longer waste money on subscriptions you don't even use. Do you know how much your subscriptions really cost? Most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions, when the actual total is closer to $200. I know that affects me. That's right, you could be wasting hundreds of dollars each month on subscriptions you don't even know about. Rocket Money takes care of that. Well, how does it work, Tess? Well, here you go. The app shows all of your subscriptions in one place and then cancels for you whatever you still don't want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't even know you were paying for. You may even find out you've been double charged for a subscription. To cancel a subscription, all you have to do is press cancel, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Get rid of useless subscriptions with Rocket Money now. Go to rocketmoney.com/nodunks. Seriously, it could save you hundreds per year. That's rocketmoney.com/nodunks. Cancel your unnecessary subscriptions right now at rocketmoney.com/nodunks.
Okay, pick 'em results from last night. Our game was the Nuggets Thunder game. Denver, they were the favorites by 5.5 points. It was looking good for OKC and Trey's pick for a lot of it. Third quarter especially, where OKC went on a massive run, and then it flipped there in the fourth. Denver shut them down and sort of blew the game open. So they covered that 6-point spread, 5.5 point spread. So it's a win for Tass and I. That was my first win here for the month of November. Tass goes to 2-1. Trey and I are 1-2. So what's tonight's game?
Well, is everyone tired about talking Brooklyn Nets? Well, we're doing it one more time, baby.
Okay.
One more time. Here we go. They're visiting the Washington Zards.
Oh, Zards.
And the Nets are the road dogs. I guess they should be the road dogs.
Yeah,
we just had them in tier 2.
Well, we didn't. The odds makers did, but I'm taking them here because, honestly, because there's no Kyrie and Ben Simmons isn't playing. I'm fine with that. I think they're gonna win with KD as their guy.
This team, it could be weird. The coach bump didn't work. Maybe the player bump.
Player suspension bump.
Their second best player by far not being there is gonna work. I don't know. That's the weird thing. Who's gonna score? I guess they'll play defense.
Kevin Durant's gonna score 50 points.
40 shots. 40 shots.
KD for 50 points tonight.
All right.
Lock it in. But anyway, the Wizards will probably cover and win by 3. You guys got the Wizards.
But we got a really nice sked. We got Bulls versus the Celtics. We got Raps versus Luka.
Ooh, that's nice.
Warriors, Pelicans, Bucks, Wolves.
Raps versus Luka.
Jazz,
Can
Lakers.
Nick Nurse and all the 6'9 guys, 6'8 guys finally figure out a way to slow him down?
OG
Some
and
box
Anunoby.
one.
Yeah, OG in the fourth quarter. Have fun with that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right. Some great games tonight. Let's get to tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
Yeah, a little bit of a weird tweet of the night from me. Why not? Drake and 21 Savage released their new album last night, titled Her Loss. One of the songs on the album is called More M's, and one of the lyrics, at least tweeted by @LeagueFits with a photo, is out at Saga City Palladium skating through this album like a Montreal Canadian. Now, it's actually wrong, League Fits. The lyric is used to be in Saga out at Sega City Palladium, skating through this album like a Montreal Canadian. And then there's a photo of Donovan Mitchell rocking the Habs jersey there. But I just wanted to bring this up because, Tass, you must have gone to Sega City Palladium, right?
I worked there.
Hell yeah.
The first summer it opened.
Hell yeah, you did. Oh, I didn't know that.
I was sniffing gasoline out there on the go-kart
Go-kart track, yeah.
6 months. 6 months out there. I had so much fun. That couldn't have been 6 months. I guess I worked at Palladium for 6 months. The go-karts couldn't have been open 6 months. This is Canada we're talking about.
Wow, tell the people, what was Sega City Palladium like? Well, I mean, what?
It's a knockoff Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, okay.
But they had batting cages. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah?
I guess it's closed down now.
It did.
But it had a great run.
A couple years ago.
Yeah.
Just a couple years ago. So
Really good run. That was one of my first out there jobs. I was 16. Having fun. Having so much fun. I mainly sat on the bridge on the go-kart track. I was the overseer a lot of the time.
What did you do?
Well, people spun out. I gotcha.
Oh, help them.
Yeah, run over, turn their car around, pat on the head. Go get him, kid. I've made a lot of friends out there.
Did you ever see Drake? At Sega City Palladium.
I guess so. I guess he was out there in
Yeah.
Saga City.
Yep. he must have.
Hanging out. Yeah, I did a Google of this lyric.
Yeah.
As soon as I'm like, I must be missing something. Drake did pop up, but it wasn't directly from the song, I guess, because it was slightly incorrect. But anyway.
Well, yeah, that I believe League Fitz just went with out at Saga City Palladium, but I think he says in the song. I listened to it this morning. Used to be in Saga out at Sega City Palladium. I like the Sega City part. I think that's important that the Palladium was sponsored by Sega.
Very important.
As long as a Sega guy.
I actually just found that out.
You didn't know that part.
No, it was just called Palladium.
Right.
For all of us.
Yeah.
I'm ready to play. A lot of playing happened.
And if you were wondering how powerful the Drake sports curse is, I checked the NHL scores last night, and yep, wouldn't you know it, the Canadiens lost to the Winnipeg Jets in overtime. Drake just mentioning the Montreal Canadiens gave him the L. Because that's like his thing, right? He shows up or rocks a jersey or supports or bets, whatever, and the team always loses. Yeah. Or at least that's our selective memory when it comes to the Drake sports curse. Okay. Any thoughts on the Habs jersey that Mitchell was rocking? Really nice jersey.
That's not
Sweater.
recent. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I was glad to hear you say that because I was like, those jeans are a little dated.
Yeah,
from
I think it's
Donovan,
old.
So I'm glad to hear it was more like a 2018 sort of thing. But wow. A goal from P. Dubois last night for the Jets, huh? got it past S. Montembeau in the goal there for the Canadians.
Oh, of course.
That's crazy.
I like how you just throw the first initial out there. Is that his full name? P? S?
I'm guessing. I guess Pierre Dubois and Samuel Montembeau.
I don't know. I was about to look up the NHL standings as soon as you started talking about the Canadians, but I held myself back.
Okay.
Like, I feel like I know about sports right now. I know about baseball. I know about the NFL.
But not hockey.
Hockey is
no
just
way.
so. It feels foreign to me.
It doesn't even feel like it's going on right now.
Yeah.
Because you're right, all the other sports going on. We'll start dabbling a little bit. No Pucks coming soon to a podcast feed near you. I know you're listening to a lot of Tim McGraw right now, but have you listened to any Drake and Savage yet?
I didn't listen to it yet. I did see Drake was getting dragged this morning, though.
Oh no, what happened?
Taking Tory Lanez' side in the controversy with Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, God.
It's Team Megan over here.
Okay. I don't even know what you're talking about. I know who you're talking about, but I don't know the
it's
drama.
just like, why are you supporting Tory Lanez, Drake? Would be my main question.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness. Literally, it's Pierre-Luc Dubois and Sam Montembeau. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's honestly crazy to me.
You called it. Yeah. All right, let's wrap up this Drop podcast with some rapid fire fun. JD has the questions this week. We've got the answers. Let's do it.
Yeah, guys, this week we found out we're going to have to pay $8 a month to keep our blue check marks on Twitter. Well, I ain't paying it. So I'm going to be leaving the Verified Club. Don't know about you guys, but that's what I'm doing. And the Verified Club is a club that, let's face it, I had no business being a part of.
How did you get it?
Oh, I don't know.
You barely tweet.
Maybe that's why. Maybe I just like, keep it close to the vest.
Yeah. You see when you know it's legit.
Anyways, I had no business being part of that club. Tell us about a time you were somewhere you weren't supposed to be, Skeets.
Grade 8, club picture day. And so the way they did it was they would, where everybody's in their classrooms, and they would call on the PA speaker, hey, if you're in chess club, come on down to the gym, take your photo. Get your photo taken for the yearbook. And so for some reason, my buddy Grish, our buddy Grish, your buddy Grish, and my buddy Dub, we decided, let's just see how many pictures we can get in. How many club photos we can get in. So every time someone got called, we would just go down. And no one put up a fight. Like, we weren't in chess club, we weren't in theater club, but we would just stand in the photo, and no one cared to be like, these guys aren't a part of this club. We are in every photo, every club photo in this yearbook in grade 8.
That's
so
good
we
stuff.
didn't belong in 80% of them, I guess. Some of them we actually were in, but yeah. I don't know why no one said get out of here. But I guess
are in a lot of extracurriculars.
You just act like you've been there. Yeah, we're like Max Rushmore or something like that. That's our answer.
Love it.
We struggled for getting yearbooks in grade 8. You guys
yeah?
had yearbooks?
Oh, I was in the yearbook club.
Good one.
Passy.
Well, I went to an Atlanta Braves game and had a fun time. Game's over. 4 of us are ready to leave. Danielle and a couple friends of ours. And as we've talked about, Ubers are ridiculously hard to come by. And so I see it's coming on my app. I see it's just drove by. So I start sprinting out of the reserved rideshare area. I get out of there. I sprint. I'm sprinting after the car, and a police officer flags me and says, "Hey, get back over there!" And so I say, "All right." I put my hands up. All right, no problem. And so I start to proceed back to where I came from. I'm basically going back. I was on the road at the time, and I was going back to where I came from. He goes, "No, this way," around the fencing that they had put up, this pointless fencing. And so I had to go by the police officer, like directly by the police officer. And, no one was happy. No one was happy with the situation. We're sitting there for hours waiting for an Uber. So he said, he was feisty with me. I got pretty close to his face. I smelled his breath. I smelled what he had for dinner. It wasn't tasty. And at some point, I said something about the rideshare program, and Danielle had to grab me and get me out of there because who knows what was going to happen.
I said something about the rideshare.
They've got this fence.
So weird.
Thanks for having a fence here for
horrible.
no point. Get some frickin' cars here. Is this a world-class organization or not? It's like the Bermuda Triangle when you go to a Braves game. You might not come out.
Yeah.
You're there for years.
We've lost friends at that stadium.
Yeah.
Never seen them again.
R.I.P.
What do you got there,
Trent?
TK?
I went to a Catholic college, and there were sort of strict regulations for freshman dorms. Like, there was a curfew for boys being in the girls' dorm, girls being in the boys' dorm, vice versa. Spent the night in the girls' dorm once. On accident, Mom.
As happens.
As happens. I got there before the security guard you got to check in does. But then I was like, well, I can't go down now. Or I'll be caught. I'll be exposed and they'll get me out of here. So I had to stay over the entire night.
Yeah.
But I couldn't go down to the bathroom because that's where the security guard was. I would have to walk right past. She would have caught me. So I held it the whole night. The whole night, man. Woke up the next morning, peed for 1 minute and 19 seconds straight. Longest pee of my life.
Wow. 119.
Counted to 79. I was like, what? I was like looking around. You guys seeing this? Y'all seeing this?
Wow. No jars in that dorm?
No mason
I
jars.
didn't think about that.
All right, next one. On Monday, it was Halloween. Trey arrived here in the Classic Factory wearing a skin-tight costume that looked like he had no skin at all. He walked in, mask on, and just went about his normal routine. It was just me and him. Here's the thing. I was so engrossed with prepping the show that I was about 5 minutes in of him being here before I looked up and saw this guy staring at me. It's a freaky meat man just looking at me. Anyway, what's something it took you way too long to notice, Skeets?
All right, this is a bit of a story, but right now in our house, Nora, who's leading the charge here, we're thinking about changing our front room, like actually doing something with it, turning it into like maybe a fireplace and doing stuff with the beams and like making it a sitting area and all this stuff. And we're like getting rid of furniture and she's buying new furniture. So there's been a lot of like her going, what do you think about this? And I look at it and I go, yeah, that's a good lamp. Let's get that. Or like a chandelier or a couch or whatever, right? So I'm just going through the motions, and
That's a good lamp.
the other morning, I meant chandelier because I sort of ruined it already, but I meant chandelier and I meant all these other big items. And I say, okay, yeah, I like that or whatever. It's really early in the morning, like I'm sitting on my computer, I'm getting ready for the show. She's across from me on her computer, and then she goes, hey, what do you think about this lamp? And she turns her computer around. And JD, I think you have the photo. And so I just go like sort of pretty quickly, like, yeah, okay, like, all right. And I sort of just go back to work, and she just keeps holding it up. And then I finally look back up, so it took me way too long to notice that she was absolutely joking about this weird, creepy monkey lamp that we're showing you here on YouTube, and she's like, what are you talking about? Why would I ever want this lamp? Like, she was showing me as a joke, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, and I was like, I don't know, at this point, like, maybe
I love this lamp.
It looks great in here.
I know, it's like, maybe it is a cool lamp.
Looks like Trey in the girls' dorm.
So yeah, it took me way too long to notice that she was joking, and I was like zoned out, and I guess just being a bit of a yes man, like, yeah, okay, sure, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So are you buying a chandelier? Because chandelier.
Yeah.
Whoa.
God, dude, this room, we haven't even started yet, and I'm already 20K in. I think. Like, this is gonna be. You guys are gonna have to. You're gonna have to come over every day to sit in this
not
room.
Not go to the rest of that place.
Yeah.
Just sit in that room.
Yeah.
Chandeliers.
We'll do the show from there.
No,
for a
we're
couple
thinking of
weeks.
doing beam work. We just got a quote on that. That's
my
way more than you
God.
think it would be.
Oh, yeah.
Beam work, huh?
Fireplace, of course. Oh my God, the furniture alone.
Speaking of
Monkey now.
redecorating, I heard you were going to bring a rug for me today.
I do. I want to vacuum the rug first, but we got a rug coming.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
How much is that monkey?
That monkey was $89.99.
Get it.
That's worth it.
It looks like a Hammacher
Totally
Schlemmer
get it,
thing,
man.
Yeah.
I jokingly registered for a monkey holding a tea light candle when Laura and I were getting married. We still have it to this day. You'll love it.
The best part about that, Nora was saying, is like she's like, look at the reviews for this, and it's all like, it's like people writing like novels like, the monkey's so bashful. The monkey's like hiding something, but he's like cheeky about it. Fucking the weirdest fucking people. Like, it's just. But hey, if that monkey brings you joy, then brings you joy. You know?
You should get it.
Yeah.
Doesn't look
All
like
right.
it brings you much light. That's my problem with it.
Well, it's also the silhouette that would be cast
Yeah,
from behind,
yeah,
might be
that's-
kind of cute.
That's the
It
part
is
where
sort
I
of
was
there.
like, okay, that's funny.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I can almost see his dong.
Yeah.
But
It's like an Austin Powers gag,
Yeah.
right? The shadows. Anyways, text.
it's covering.
Yeah, in my shoulder. Okay, so this is a quick one.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize yesterday when we were talking about Trader Joe's, and I got home. We were talking about Trader Joe's on our show. I got home and I saw a bag of horseradish and chive potato chips from Trader Joe's.
Delicious.
Danielle said, "I bought that for you. I know you're a horseradish man." But she and I do like a horseradish. Yeah, I do like a horseradish. But when do you have horseradish? For me, not too often.
In a season.
rare, yeah.
So
It's a weird one.
yeah, but I thought I'm not gonna like this
Yeah.
chip, but it was really good, and it took me too long to realize that I was eating a whole bag.
Oh, you were snacking hard.
Daddy went to town. I think Danielle probably had a handful, but I ate the entire
Ooh.
sack of chips.
Is it like a sour cream and onion chip with obviously more
with,
of a...
with spice?
Yeah.
More heat.
Yes.
It's got a little kick.
Whatever you call that.
Yeah,
That
you-
sounds good.
Yeah,
I'm
you've had them, JD?
intrigued.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
I love them.
they're good.
Love them.
They're very good. And
I wouldn't eat a whole bag. I'm just kidding.
I-
I definitely would.
yeah, my plan wasn't to eat the whole
You
bag,
just
but
keep going.
Yeah.
they were good, and I hadn't eaten lunch. I've working overtime at the factory. Actually, not me. I wasn't working overtime at the factory. You guys were. So I could have eaten a real lunch, but that was lunch, so it was good.
Yeah, it's great.
It is
Trey.
good.
Took me too long to realize that eating a bag of chips can count as a lunch. I think it actually can. My answer, though, it was just Halloween, remember?
Yep.
Yeah, we watched Hocus Pocus with the girls. I hadn't seen it since I was a little kid. I remember thinking this was a scary, scary movie. I avoided it for 25 years afterwards. And then we watched it back, and I realized it's just a very campy movie. But it's probably where I learned what a virgin was. Because that's a huge plot point, like a virgin
Oh,
lighting this
yeah.
candle.
Oh.
And the girls are like, what's a virgin? And we're like,
boy.
somebody who is very young and inexperienced. But I'm like, I was 9 years old when this came out.
Yeah.
That's probably how I learned.
Yeah.
That Midler.
That I was just reading about that movie the other day. I looked it up because I was like, why is Hocus Pocus everywhere now? Right? It feels like in the last couple years, this movie around Halloween, of course, it's just everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. You're seeing it everywhere. There's like blow up inflatable things now that people put on their front lawn. And I was like, that wasn't happening 10 years ago.
No.
But it like became a cult classic. Is
It's a
what
cult
at
classic.
least my research found.
I
yeah.
mean, Sarah Jessica Parker, it's one of her early
Yeah.
roles, and they released a sequel this year. Literally this year.
Oh wow.
So you can see the Sanderson sisters on your Baby Bell Gouda cheeses. They're everywhere.
Wow. Great. All right, last one. This is really, I don't even know if you guys know this, but 45 years ago this week, never mind the Bullocks, the Sex Pistols came out. It's one of my favorite albums of all time.
Wow.
Yes, very influential to me. I mean, I was 6 or 7 when it actually came out. I didn't discover it till I was like 15. But man, this is my teenage years right here. Anyways, the question is, what's the most punk rock thing you've ever done, Skeets?
Okay, I got 3 options here. I don't know. Wearing a dog shock collar on an NBA
that's pretty
podcast.
punk.
That's sort of punk. It even has the look of punk.
Yeah.
I had, and I've told this story many times before here on the podcast, had my buddy Brody shave my head with a beard trimmer. And like, I mean, I looked punk. Like I looked like a dirtbag. Like brutal look for me. Never shaving my head again. And I guess the final one I'll go with, punk rock. I mean, really just straight up stupid. But I was at the University of Toronto Scarborough campus. Shout out to Dub.
Scarborough campus, punk rock.
Yeah, that's it. That's my story. No, it gets worse, JD. Like, we were obviously drinking and being fools, and we were going out from their dorm room, and I don't know where we were going, making our way to a bar. And I guess we were being shown, like, the classrooms, you know, because I'd never been up there to that campus. Paul was showing us around, and for some reason I had to piss. I couldn't hold it, and I pissed behind a podium in, like, a lecture hall.
Damn.
Like, what? What? Why?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what you want?
That's what I wanted.
Punk rock.
talking about.
Pissing on the university.
There we go.
Wow. Barely. It's Scarborough campus. Anyways.
Yeah, so I always think about it. It's like, there's gotta be cameras. There's footage of me.
Not back then. They didn't
Nah.
have
Yeah,
It's
that's
on-
back. You think so?
Well, I mean,
Early 2000s.
the footage is gone
or
now.
Late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been like taped
taped
over
over.
with that
Taped
next
over.
hour, right?
You don't think
Like-
somebody kept that? They're like, that guy's punk rock, man.
This is one of the most punk rock things I've ever seen.
When you run for prime minister, it's gonna surface.
Yeah,
Can't wait for
that's
that.
it. That's it. All right, so those are my 3 answers.
All right, Tess.
Well, luckily I was behind something and I didn't urinate. Now I'll get to that in a second. But my rebellious moment, it's more of a childish moment. I don't have a good rebellious moment, but I stayed home from doing a project in 9th grade, pretended I was sick, and when I got back to class the next day, my teacher got up in front of me as I was about to do my presentation, and she said, Miss Laudemus said, she was a great teacher. She said, let's let Tassos do his presentation so he can get his grade. And as she was doing that, I was mimicking her from behind. So every single word, I was just mimicking her from behind. Like a child. And unfortunately, behind me was Mr. Wardlaw, another teacher. So I got the double trouble. For mimicking the teacher, also for not showing up for my presentation in 9th grade. That was me in grade 9, baby.
What
that's
was
it.
the punishment? Like anything severe? Just like detention?
No, I reduced grade. No matter how amazing my presentation was.
And you killed it, I assume.
No, it wasn't good. I left my man Amin Al-Pachachi hanging.
Oh,
Still
it
to
was
this day.
It was a
It was a dual. It was the
man.
old dual ISU, independent study unit with somebody else. How does that make sense? Anyway, but yeah. Anyway,
Doesn't add up.
I love that you quote the Bare Naked Ladies during your punk rock story. Chef's kiss to you. Trey.
This might disqualify us, JD, because this all happened in between football practices, so I don't know if being a dumb jock counts as punk rock. But those 3 hours in between football practices when, like, every parent was doing work and it was just 16, 17-year-olds riding around Plano, Illinois. That was bad. That was dumb stuff. The dumbest things I remember are pouring a container of gasoline into a river and setting it on fire and calling it fire water. Throwing a milkshake at a mailbox so that the mailbox falls off the post. That was a dumb one. Classic. But the dumbest was shooting a potato gun inside of a van. We thought it was broken, but when the igniter hit the floor, boom! That was scary, man.
Wow.
That was very scary. But a potato gun's pretty fun. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, but if you've got a bad friend who likes to get in trouble, ask if they got a potato gun.
Fries were made in that van.
Oh, baby, yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
Never heard of such a thing.
We're not that punk rock, I think, is what we
No.
just,
No.
just
yeah,
determined.
I figured. That's fine.
Yeah, what about you then?
Same kind of stuff. Peed on stuff I shouldn't have.
Oh yeah, you had a big nude phase. Is that punk rock?
Yeah. A lot of naked
nudity.
stuff. Yeah.
You told the story of taking somebody's camera and taking photos of your junk. And
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah. Multiple times. Multiple times. That was for the embarrassment factor at the Photomat. It was before digital cameras.
Yeah.
So loved it when those came back in my life, but I too can never run for prime minister.
That's all right. We
what
need
are
you
gonna
making
do?
this show. All right. That's Rapid Fire. That's the Drop Podcast. Thanks for sticking with us here. To everybody that joined us live, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, share the show. We'll be back on Monday with some NBA weekend winners and losers. Let's hear your suggestions all weekend long. Tweet them in. Don't be shy. At No Dunks Inc. INC on the end. Again, if you're a Survivor fan, go check out No Buffs yesterday. It's on YouTube and podcast feed. And Matty O's Is This Good podcast with special guest Renee Paquette. That is also available on YouTube and its own podcast feed. I'm very excited to go listen to that, probably in my car ride home, right after this. We're done here at the factory today, right?
Yeah.
You gotta go eat a bag of chips. I gotta go take a piss on something.
I've been holding it the whole time.
I gotta time
Since
you.
last night, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
wait.
yeah. I wanted to
So we
test
gotta go
myself.
for a minute 20.
Yeah, if you can get it to 80 seconds, leave a comment down below in the YouTube
All right.
stream.
All right, so we'll be back on Monday. Thanks again to everybody for joining us live here and everybody listening. Leave us those 5-star ratings and review. 5-star Friday. It was supposed to be today. We'll bump it to next Friday. So you got time to get your reviews in.
Snuck up on me.
I know.
Big time.
Same here. And then there
Big
was a
time,
lot of,
yep.
obviously, nonsense we had to talk about. And then we had a fun little segment there talking about the contenders and stuff like that.
That's what happens when the first of the month isn't on a Monday.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
Clipper Bros!
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, Tuesday, November 8th is Election Day in the U.S. No games in the NBA, so no excuses. Get out there. Lots of resources online if you got to figure out where to vote. You might have same-day registration out there. So there's a lot of states out there. So check it out online. If not, hit me up. We'll figure it out together.
There you go. Brace the weekend, people.